Shalom family.
This is Mykal Yahu.
This is Mahalak Yahu, and as you know, Yahuah has the fairest daughters in the land. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Loc'd N Melanated, where we really say locked in, and that's on what?
That's on period.
That's on So today's topic is sisterhood. So today's topic is sisterhood. We just want to come on here real quick and just do like an encouragement video for all of our sisters. Just talk about what sisterhood means to us, share a little bit about our testimony, and also maybe give just some examples of sisterhood, also tied in with scripture and all that great stuff. So let's get it, let's king.
So, what is sisterhood? Sisterhood to us is complementing each other, one another. So, where you are weak, your sister may be strong, and vice versa. Y'all can help each other, uplift one another, and hold each other accountable. That's why in scripture it says two are better than one, which is Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 says two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has not another to help him up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken.
So basically, I mean, it's self-explanatory right there. Two are better than one. You are there to help your sister, uplift her, and then she is supposed to do the same thing for you in return. Wherever you all may fall, or whoever is weak in the area, you're supposed to uplift that sister with your own testimony, with the word, of course, and also in prayer. So that's what we do for each other. When one is struggling in an area, we'll be like, okay, so you did this and this is what's going on, but this is how we should deal with this scripturally, because this is also what Yahuah says about this type of situation. So then that sister would just go and meditate on it, think on it, and then come back to that sister, and depending on how the situation went down, you just apologize and say, okay, I see where you're coming from, I see where you showed me on the word, and I see how that can apply to me, or how I can apply this to my life to be better. And then where it says a 3-strand cord is not easily broken, that 3-strand cord, that's you, your sister, and then the Most High. Like at that point, if y'all believe in the Most High, if y'all are reading your word, if y'all are praying, if you're fasting, especially together, Yahuah, he's always there. He's always in the midst. So at that point, if you're strong and she's strong, or you're getting stronger or she's getting strong, whatever the case may be, and then you have the Most High working in the midst, nothing can break that 3-strand cord. A 3-strand cord is like braid. It's like a braid. It's strong. So it's like one of those ropes that's like really durable. You can't break it, and if you do try to break it, you got to put so much like force and effort behind it. So that's what the enemy is going to try to do. He's going to try to put something on you or suggest things to you, but at the end of the day, if you all are believing in the Most High, and then the Most High sees you believing in him, there's nothing that can break that 3-strand cord. Sisterhood is also about being able to put yourself, like you put your sister above yourself. It's also the scripture where it says, love thy neighbor as thyself. So the way you look out for yourself is the same way you should look out for your sister or even your brother. But that scripture, I believe, is what Romans 12:10 says, be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. So that's basically what we just said. It's that in a nutshell, basically. So yeah.
One thing, even like practically like everyday stuff, me and her, like at work, or even when we're just out wherever, a lot of times we'll come up like with an idea, and we'll bounce ideas off of each other and help in that way too. So of course the word is important, and praying and fasting is important, but also just everyday things. Even having a sister you can go to just to laugh with, or to if y'all want to go into like a business together, or just not being alone all the time is also great. Having your space is great, but also having that sister you can trust is great too, because at that point you can prevail a lot quicker or a lot farther, excuse me,
right,
if you have a sister that is a ahuah with you, is equal, or
y'all trying to serve the same purpose,
right,
as in being a better servant each and every day to the Most High.
Right.
So that's the ultimate mission, and that's what the scripture says, Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. Two are better than one. So you being alone, it's not like you can't have your space and whatever, but when you're with that sister, and especially she's stronger in another area, whether that's prayer, fasting, reading, understanding, her relationship might be further with the Most High, you can really benefit from that sister. And most of us, a lot of times as women, because we are the more emotional vessel, we're very emotional and we act out our emotions way more than men do. So a lot of times we'll look at a sister like, well, she got this or she got that, and then we'll start becoming jealous or envious or so like, instead of doing that, comparison kills creativity. So basically it's like you sitting here comparing yourself to this sister and that, but you really should not be comparing. You should be comparing yourself to the Most High and Yahuah, which is the greatest example, and you should be striving to be like him every day. So you should be comparing yourself to him and how you can be better, not comparing yourself to another sister. At the end of the day, you should be inspired by that sister. If anything, you should be inspired and go to that sister and say, how did you do this? So like, I want my relationship to be closer with I want to be closer to the Most High, or I want to be closer to Yahuah. How did you, and I see you praying every day, I see you doing this, I see you do that. You seem like you have a really great relationship with the Most High. How do I do that? You should ask those questions and not be jealous and envious. Like I said, us as women, we can get like that. And sometimes we also have to check ourselves and be like, okay, let's not do that, and let's not even think that, because it's going to start manifesting as envy or jealousy or strife, contentment, anger, whatever. Is going to manifest as that. So those type of things you have to nip in the bud and not let them just sit there and become full-on thoughts, because at the end of the day, it will manifest if you don't cut it or dead it. Also, sisterhood is based on trust, love, support, unity, and encouragement. We have to stand together as sisters, because we are able to relate to each other, but being in this walk, we can relate to each other, but being in this walk, we have to be able to say, okay, no, sis, this is where you were wrong. We have to be able to dish out the truth. We have to stand in order for us to stand together, we have to be truthful to one another and be a mirror to each other and say, this is where you're going wrong, or you're doing good at this, but I think you could do better in this area. So that's support. That's loving your sister. That's you, when you say those things and have those kind of conversations or tough conversations, that is love and support. That is unity. That is creating a stronger bond. That is encouragement. So
when you're a sister that holds things back, as far as like, if you see your sister's in the wrong, or your sister comes to you about a certain situation and you don't say what you need to say, you are hindering your sister, because if you're not holding her accountable when it needs to be done, at that point you're not operating in the role that the Most High put you here to operate in. Right. So you're either lying to her, encouraging her to continue in the sin or wickedness, or it might not even be that deep, but like a bad habit, versus instead of catering to her feelings, cater to her salvation. Right. Like you gotta, when you talk to a sister, you have to think about that stuff, because yes, you may hurt her feelings, but also be respectful in what you gotta say. But you may hurt her feelings, but it's not about feelings. Like it's at that point that goes out the window if she's committing sin, wickedness, or if she may not even see the issue. That may be the reason why she's coming to you, but you're sugarcoating it and not being truthful. So that at that point you're hindering her instead of putting herself above you and not doing what you need to do.
Also, that is gonna, for you as well, this is really anybody, but we're speaking to the sisters at this moment. But like on Judgment Day, when this life is temporary, it's not forever. So when you pass away and you have to go in front of Yahuah, he's gonna ask you. He's gonna bring up, all of this stuff, all the things that you've done wrong. You have to have an account for. You have to have an account for everything that you've done here on this earth,
or didn't do.
Right. So if you were supposed to say something or do something for a sister and you didn't do it, that blood now is on your hands. Because the Most High is going to be like, well, I told you to do this, or I put this on your heart to go and speak this, but you quenched the fire of the Ruach HaKodesh and you decided not to, because you, whatever the case was, you didn't want to hurt her feelings, or you thought it would have been too harsh, or you just didn't know if that would end y'all's sisterhood or relationship, so you didn't say it. But at the end of the day, at that point, you're choosing someone else's feelings over both of y'all souls being saved, because it's going to save her and then it's going to save you, because the Most High, he's not going to be like, well, why you didn't do it? Because you did it. So like, you just have to keep that in mind. It's a lot of times I say, don't give your soul up for something stupid. That's something stupid. You could have literally just told her whatever the Most High told her and kept it told you to tell her and kept it pushing. And then at that moment, Yahuah will deal with her and however she takes it. If she takes it and receives it, then that's great. If she doesn't take it and receive it, she gets an attitude or whatever the case may be, then the Most High has to deal with her on that.
At that point, that's between her and the Most High. You did your part. If you did it, of course, how he told you to, and respectfully. But also, tough love is a part of sisterhood too.
Right.
That comes along with all the goody, like the good stuff as far as love and trust. That's all great. But you also got, there's another side of sisterhood, holding each other accountable, tough love, things that you may not want to say to a sister that you need to say to help her out. But
and another thing is, you have to prove a sister. I know the word says you have to try every spirit or test every spirit. I don't know what verse that is, but I know I've heard it. I know I've heard it. I know I've seen it, and I know I've read it. Or prove a friend. So you don't just start willy-nilly just, I mean,
unfortunately
it's like, I mean,
you can't trust everybody,
right? But it's not like you can't fellowship with people and whatnot. No one's saying that. It's more so who you attach yourself to, who you start having conversations with, who you start having, like, if you and a sister have a phone number, at that point you have to like kind of feel the person out. You can't just be like, oh yeah girl, I did this and that and there, because not every person that is sent to you is for you. Sometimes the person that is sent to you, it could be the Most High giving you a test. I mean, and you just have to discern, okay, what do I do in this situation, and how do I prove a friend or a sister? What do how do I handle this? And of course you could also go to the Most High about it, but just prove a friend, discern righteously, ask for discernment to discern righteously and not foolishly. So you know, you can once you ask for that and you discern properly, you'll be able to know, okay, this sister is real, or no, this sister is really just here to like what's the like monitoring spirits. Like, they just sit there to just watch what you're doing. They don't really care.
Because at that point, that's what we're saying earlier, like the jealousy and envy. If you are friends with a sister, or y'all are growing in y'all's relationship, but she is only there to copy you or to mimic what you have instead of genuinely like being inspired, like we were saying, she's there to monitor you, to watch you, to mimic the things you do, to try to get ahead of you, or like to gain more followers, or you know, just petty stuff that women do, like instead of just being genuine with it.
My dad and mom say this all the time. When you when someone shows you their fruit, believe them. Like, don't, like, once you've seen 1 or 2 red flags, at that point you should start keeping your distance. And even if you see 1 or 2 red flags and then you try to approach that sister and say, hey, I seen this, or I didn't like this, or we could have went about this, you could have went about this a certain way, but yada yada yada. If they don't receive that well and then they show you they behind, believe it. Because at that point, if you don't believe it and you keep putting yourself around this person, at that point you're agreeing to their wickedness, you're agreeing to their bad habit, you're agreeing to their sin. It's all in their fruit. And the word also says judge people by their fruits. So if you're judging somebody by their fruits and they just showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on what's going on, okay, the proof is in the pudding, literally.
You're making a conscious decision to agree with that. So, and at that point, that's blood on your hands if something goes wrong, or if you get attached to wickedness. At that point, you gotta realize like, oh well, the Most High showed me this and this and this about that sister, but I just decided to ignore him, and now I'm following along, and now you done committed a sin, or you out here, you subtly change your ways, not really realizing it until the damage is done.
Right. And then you're gonna be like, well, how did I get here? And da da da. The Most High gonna be like, I showed you the signs. I showed you what the sister was about. I showed you her face. Well, some women on Facebook and whatnot are all about vanity and things like that. That's still fruit. That's physical fruit. They're showing you they're all about vanity. They're showing you that they only care about themselves. That's what they're showing.
Gossiping or constantly in the latest celebrity news and like just petty stuff like that. You have to watch out for that. You also know what you can handle and what you can't handle. Right. And you can discern.
Especially if you know you came from a situation.
Right.
Don't put yourself back in that same position.
Or or you know what's good for you, and you see a different sister doing that. Don't compromise yourself and what you know you need to do. If you know you can't handle certain things, but that sister is able to, at that point, you just gotta discern. Okay, am I able to handle this? Am I able to not handle it? What do I need to do?
Is this a trigger for me? Should I just stay away? Exactly. Maybe you just started healing from something, and she maybe posting, I don't know, just anything, like just basically what we're saying. Just discern. Just prove a friend and discern. Not every sister is there for you. Not every person that comes to you is for you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Yahuah would just send you somebody to test who you are and to see where you are in your walk. So you really just have to discern, really. A little bit about our testimony as sisters. We did not always grow up around each other. There were some times where we were like split.
Yeah, majority of our childhood, depending on what age you look at, we were split apart. We weren't together. We were like little babies, like maybe like between 1 and 3 maybe. Mm-hmm. And then at a certain point, of course it wasn't our choice, but we just got split up and we didn't come back together until we were a little older. And then that was on and off because I would visit, my father, and she would be there, so I would see her then. Yeah. But it wasn't a consistent basis. We didn't have that bond like a lot of sisters do when they grow up together.
Yeah, like we had the bond.
Well, yeah.
Like, the
bond was there, it just wasn't consistent. Like,
it wasn't consistent. The bond was always
like, physically we weren't there, but I knew that's my sister. She knew I'm her sister, and we loved each other. We never had a bad relationship ever. Even now, we don't.
Yeah, and then once we came into the walk around the same time, she came in before I did. But when we came in the walk around the same time, I think our bond actually got stronger.
Oh yeah. Like we're inseparable now. Like when you see her, you see me. A lot of the times, or vice versa.
Like we go to work together. We go almost everywhere together. But yeah. So just on an everyday basis for me and her, like everything is not always peaches and cream. Like I said, at the end of the day, we're women, so sometimes we get in our emotions at times, but we have each other to be like, okay, well, you got an attitude here. Mm. And I was like, well, I wasn't trying to have an attitude. I was just trying to tell you. And then she'd be like, well, it was really in the way you said it. So then, like, vice versa, when we get to those moments, we really just talk it out. And then afterwards, like a few minutes later, we're fine. Like, it's not that, it's not that deep.
It's never that deep.
It's not that deep, but, you just keep moving. Like there's no reason to sit here and just continue to be mad all day, every day, especially over something so stupid, small, penny. Like it's really not that deep. But
and like now, if it gets to that point to where we're just annoyed, we discern. I know I try to discern, like if she is annoyed about something I did, either I ask her or I'll just wait instead of trying to nip in the bud. Then like I'll just give her space, or vice versa. She'll do that to me too. Because not everything needs to be said right then and there. Because at that point, that other person may be trying to discern themselves. Like, okay, well, is this me? But you're like, I guess like pressing the button or just trying to hound in on it. When just give that person some time to collect them thought. Because they could be praying to Yahuah. They could be asking themselves, okay, well, reflecting on themselves, and you're trying to just constantly pick at it. Just
me and her do that a lot. So like a lot of times, like we like if we're talking about something and we are disagreeing at a moment, or she has an idea, but I feel like my idea is better, or vice versa. Which is like, okay. Which is like, okay, well, I think this is better. And she's like, okay, well, I think this is better. So then we'll kind of just shut up and just not say anything for like a good like 20 minutes, and then be like, and we'll come back and be like, well, I just want to apologize because I wasn't trying to be like this, that, and the third. I just was trying to put like say this or say that or whatever the case may be. And then we'll just be like, well, I understand what you're saying, but we really be just wanting each other to hear each other, but we be acting like we don't hear each other. And then half the time we be saying the same thing,
just in a different way. So
way.
It seems like we're contradicting each other, but we're really not. Like, we're saying it just in a different way. So at that point, like, there was one time where we had to like pause and be like, well, you're saying what I'm saying and I'm saying what you're saying. So at this point, we're just gonna do what we do, and then we just got it done. So but yeah, I feel like a lot of times we never ever get to the point where we need to fight each other, put our hands on each other.
Really argue.
Never get to that point because we nip it in the bud before it even gets to there. So.
And in those moments where we're quiet, like she said, we sit there. I know for myself for sure, and I know she's done it plenty of times. We also like, okay, maybe I just could have shut up when she said her idea, and I just could have kept it pushing, and we could have just, figured out something from there. Or I'll just be like, well, maybe I, should have just said it this way, or maybe I should have just, did this and that and the third. Like, sit there and reflect, and then we'll come back and we'll try to make a decision. We'll be like, okay, so what do you want to do? I know you were saying this and that and the third. I do think this is better, but I mean, we can still do it your way, and just keep it moving.
We weren't always like that. We had to get to that point. There was a time where we would just say what came to mind and just that was it, or just be quick to just blame someone else, or well, you did this and you made me feel like
didn't want to take accountability,
right? But then at this point, when we worked on ourselves, and when the Most High showed us ourselves, or when He used our parents to speak to us about certain situations that we were in, we had to learn and come to the realization that it's not about the other person. When you get in an argument or disagreement with somebody, the first thing you should do is first humble yourself and think about what you could have done better.
Right.
And even if you were right in the situation and you know it, and Yahuah was showing you were in the right, still don't sit here and dwell on what the other person could have done better, because at that point, let the Most High do with them about that.
Right.
And instead of you hounding it, and now you're creating a whole issue, or you're arguing to the point where it's just
getting out of hand.
It's getting out of hand.
So us being away from each other so long, we had to kind of feel each other out again, because it had been a minute since we had really been around each other or lived together. So we had to learn each other all over again. There's some stuff, she got pet peeves, I got pet peeves, but we didn't really know that until
last time we were in the same house together. We were way younger,
like 5.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people ask us at work or just out and about, do we ever argue? We're like, no. And they're shocked, oh, what? No, we don't.
Yeah.
We also, we're in the walk, and we have Yahuah, Yahusha, and 2 parents that love us and care for us. So,
and when they see something, they be like, why did you say that like that? Then they'll get nipped in the bud. But that rarely ever happens, because we don't ever let stuff get to that point. But the last thing that we just had to say was which I mean, everybody, they're these are famous accounts in the Bible, but Naomi and Ruth, and then of course Mary and Elizabeth, those are great examples of sisterhood. And Ruth and Naomi, they wouldn't wait Mary.
I was like,
were they related? I don't think they were, not blood.
Yeah,
they were cousins, weren't they?
They were family either way.
But I'm just trying to say, Ruth and Naomi definitely were not family related.
Yeah, no, that was her daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
at that point. But anyway, it's still sisterhood.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Blood,
I'm only trying to point at the fact that Ruth and Naomi, they was not blood related. So, first of all, her not being blood related, but she's seen the culture, because Naomi was in the culture. She served you, but Ruth seen how the culture was and was like, that's what I want. And even when her husband died, she clinged to Naomi, and that wasn't her real mother. She could have easily went back to wherever she's from. Was she a Moabite? I think
She wasn't us.
Right, period. She wasn't us. It's been a minute since I read that.
As far as like genetically DNA, she wasn't.
She wasn't us, but she still like came and went with Naomi and, you know, served the Most High and did what she had to do and gleaned from Naomi and did what she was supposed to. She was obedient to what Naomi was telling her. Mm-hmm. So I was really just trying to point out the fact that they're not related, but because Ruth seen the culture and because she loves Naomi, she gleaned from her. She didn't go back to her own mother. She stayed and listened to Naomi. Mm-hmm. So, and then Mary Elizabeth is a great account too. And their sisterhood is also great. And it can teach us a lot of things about what we could do better on and how we could be better listeners, be more obedient, not necessarily be obedient, because of course you be obedient to the Most High, but a lot of times when your sister is telling you something that's true and right, you have to receive that word and be obedient. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure, I hope your sister will not tell you nothing out of wickedness, anger, jealousy, or whatever. I hope that's not the case. I pray that's not the case. But if your sister is, and that's where you discern, but if your sister is telling you something true about yourself and you know you do something that you shouldn't be doing, you gotta receive that and you gotta take it and you gotta be obedient. Yeah. So,
and the last thing I want to say was sisterhood is also not a respecter of persons. So if you have a younger sister, the Most High can use them as much as He can use you, or an elder or an older woman. They can use Yahuah can use her like He can use anybody else. So just because we're 22 and 23 doesn't mean He can't use our sister who is 14 or even 13, Yahuah, to show us something, right, or to speak a word to us. So at that point, it's not a respecter of persons.
Your sister is your sister. It don't matter if they're younger or older, period. Shout out to Leah for the Ruach and Truth shirts. Her website is www.beautyforashesdesigns.com. It'll be in the description. And I believe her Instagram is _.beautyforashes. It'll be in the description. And our personal IG accounts will also be in the description. We do have a new Loc'd N Melanated Facebook page. We do have a new Loc'd N Melanated Instagram page. It will be in the description. Yeah. And shout out to Black Canvas Music. And shout out to our dad and our mom. Shout out to all y'all. We love y'all. And yeah, so just stay locked in with us. Stay tuned. We got more content coming. So yeah, just stay tuned. We love y'all. Shalom.